Meghan Markle recently said that you reached out to her and said, come, you can live in my home.
Yeah, it was a very difficult time for them.
And like me, who get tired of helping people and watch them dog you out.
$60 million sexual assault lawsuit.
Tyler Perry hit by $260 million lawsuit after actor accused him of sexual harassment.
A billionaire who once saved Harry and Meghan is now being erased from their story like he never existed. And the moment that happened, everything snapped. Because within days, people started claiming Tyler Perry didn't just get offended, he got prepared. And then, on a live broadcast, the internet says a short clip surfaced. The kind of clip that doesn't sound like a rumor. It sounds like a behind-the-scenes moment you were never supposed to hear. And right after that, Prince Harry allegedly bolts back to the UK. So the big question is simple. What did Harry hear? What does Tyler Perry have? And why does it look like Harry is trying to get ahead of what's coming next? So in this video, I'll try to explain to you all of it. How Tyler Perry went from the Sussex's Hollywood guardian angel to their biggest liability, what the so-called secret tapes are, why the leak hit like a bomb, and why Harry's sudden move back to the UK feels like a strategic retreat. Quick pause. If you like these deep dives and want the next update the moment it drops, hit subscribe and like. It helps the channel more than you think. Thank you! Let's rewind to how Tyler Perry ended up in the middle of their story in the first place. When Harry and Meghan blew up the royal playbook and fled the UK, they weren't just escaping press. They were escaping the entire infrastructure that used to protect them. And in that vulnerable moment, Tyler Perry wasn't a casual celebrity acquaintance. He became the lifeline, the private jet, the fortress-level security, the mansion that wasn't just a home, but a safe house. For months, that place wasn't just where they lived, it was where the Sussex rebrand was born, where plans were made, where emotions ran hot, where they weren't performing for cameras, they were allegedly talking like people who felt cornered. And publicly, the bond looked unbreakable. Meghan praised him, the Netflix footage softened him into a savior figure. Tyler wasn't just a friend, he was positioned as chosen family.
What I know about the two of them, and I wish the world knew how much they love these two people love each other. The love that they have is really, really moving, and I just wanted to do anything I could to support them.
And in the royal world, giving someone that kind of status isn't casual, which is why what happens next feels so cold. Because according to the storyline that's now spreading fast, Tyler Perry suddenly becomes a headline problem. Massive lawsuit numbers get thrown around, accusations, court filings, the kind of story that makes brands nervous and PR teams start calculating distance. And then, almost instantly, people claim Meghan's digital footprint changes. Tyler's name gets scrubbed, photos disappear, old praise gets archived, mentions get edited, even tiny wording changes show up in places fans obsess over, like it's an autopsy. And the internet does what it always does, it takes screenshots, compares timestamps, and starts asking one brutal question. Why erase the man who sheltered you when you had nowhere to go? That's when the story flips from awkward to dangerous, because the claim isn't just that Tyler got hurt, the claim is that Tyler has receipts. Not vibes, not gossip, receipts. The way it's told, Tyler Perry isn't just a billionaire, he's a billionaire with legal teams and contracts for everything. And in your script's storyline, there was a guest residency agreement, and inside it a clause that allegedly matters a lot. A clause that basically says if one side publicly disavows the other, the non-breaching side may disclose context necessary to protect reputation, within the boundaries of the law. In plain English, the rumor is if Meghan's camp tried to erase him to avoid the headlines, that move may have triggered Tyler's permission slip to defend himself publicly. And if that clause exists the way this story claims it does, then the next part makes sense. Tyler wouldn't need to throw random insults. He could go strategic, controlled, surgical. He could tell his version with structure, documentation, and dates, not just emotions. Now imagine what Tyler would have been around during those months. Late-night pacing, panic spirals, arguments about what to say publicly versus what to hide, plans for interviews, plans for Netflix, what to cut, what to keep, what to emphasize, what to frame as trauma, what to frame as strength. If Tyler truly hosted them through the raw stage of their escape, then he didn't just see the story, he saw the blueprint. And according to the storyline, he didn't forget any of it. The rumor is that Tyler documented things, not necessarily to blackmail anyone, but because that's how media people operate when they're living inside a real-life saga. Notes, voice memos, behind-the-scenes recordings, fragments of conversations, planning sessions, the kind of stuff that's normal in production until a friendship collapses. Now here's where the tapes part comes in. As the internet tells it, Tyler didn't immediately go public. He went silent. And that silence didn't look calm, it looked tactical. The kind of silence that lets the other side panic, overcorrect, and expose themselves. And then came the moment that made the story explode. A short clip, around 58 seconds, appears and spreads like wildfire. Some people say it first surfaced around a live segment before it got reposted everywhere. Others say it was seeded online and then echoed by broadcasters. Either way, the result was the same. It went global. And the clip is described as Meghan talking strategy, not "I'm scared," not "I'm hurt," strategy, naming the kind of sympathy that plays well, questioning how often certain comparisons should be used before it starts sounding calculated. And in the background, there's a second voice that people assume is Harry, grumbling about what Netflix wants and doesn't want. The internet didn't hear it as a private moment, it heard it as a backstage confession, and that's why it hit harder than any tabloid headline, because headlines can be dismissed as bias. Audio, if people believe it's real, lands differently. Within minutes, the clip gets re-uploaded, chopped up, translated, memed, analyzed, and weaponized. Pro-Sussex pages go quiet, anti-Sussex accounts declare it a smoking gun. Commentators start calling it the moment the curtain slipped. And then the bigger claim drops. That wasn't the only clip.
The rumor becomes that Tyler has a larger archive, hours of material, notes, call recordings, transcripts, pieces of the early post-royal planning that would make the Oprah era and the Netflix era look less like spontaneous truth-telling and more like scripted production. Whether that's real or exaggerated, you can see why it would terrify the Sussex camp, because their entire brand depends on one thing: authenticity. If the public starts believing their story was produced, it doesn't matter how many curated posts they publish afterward. The lens changes. People rewatch everything through suspicion. And that's where Harry comes in. Because the claim in your script is that Harry doesn't just sit there and ride it out. He spirals. He stops sleeping. He snaps. He goes restless. And then, the moment the clip detonates online, he allegedly books a private flight and heads to the UK alone. No Meghan, no cameras, no statement. Just distance. And that's the part that makes viewers lean in, because it suggests Harry isn't only worried about public perception, he's worried about survival, emotional survival, reputational survival, and maybe even legal survival if the situation becomes something bigger. The UK isn't just home, it's infrastructure. It's where the palace has leverage. It's where legal defenses are stronger. It's where royal allies exist. It's where back channels can happen quietly. And it's where the monarchy knows how to handle scandal without blinking in public. So the next question becomes, is Harry running toward family or running toward protection? Because according to the storyline, there are whispers of back-channel communication, quiet outreach, Harry floating the idea of easing tensions, maybe even returning in some limited capacity, not because he misses royal duties, but because he knows one thing: if Tyler Perry opens the vault fully, the Sussex version of events gets challenged in a way they can't control. Meanwhile, Meghan's side in this story goes into crisis mode. More lifestyle posts, cleaner branding, soft focus wellness content, garden shots, calm and grounded energy blasted across every channel like a fog machine. But the comments don't follow the script, because the public only asks one question: where's Tyler?
Brands start hesitating, deals get paused, campaigns quietly go dark, not necessarily because anyone believes everything, but because brands hate uncertainty, and this storyline is pure uncertainty. And Tyler Perry, still silent. but not the kind of silence that means he's scared, the kind of silence that means he's deciding what the next move is. Because if the leak was deliberate, it was brilliant, just long enough to cause chaos, just short enough to avoid easy legal retaliation, just personal enough to feel real, just vague enough to make people argue for weeks, which leads to the final open loop you end on. Was that clip a one-time warning or the first episode of a series? Because if Tyler Perry truly feels betrayed, he doesn't need to burn bridges. He can build a stage. He can sell out the show. He can turn defending his reputation into a media event it swallows the Sussex narrative whole. And if Harry believes more is coming, his fleeing back to the UK suddenly looks like the smartest move he's made in years. Not because he's choosing the monarchy again, because he's choosing the only shelter he knows that can withstand the blast. So now we wait for the next drop. More clips, more leaks, a sit-down interview, a legal filing that forces the conversation into the open. Because if Tyler Perry really has an archive, and if the first 58 seconds did this much damage, the next release wouldn't just shake their image, it could rewrite their entire story. And that's why Harry ran. Not from the press, not from the monarchy, but from the moment the private story becomes public and you can't control how the world hears it anymore.
Let me know in the comments where you stand on this, because people see the same story in totally different ways. And if you want more breakdowns like this, subscribe and like. It really helps the channel grow.